4. So people who are joining us on our social channels, I'd request you to join us live on Zoom by using the link to the Zoom session, which is available. I request you to join us. Yeah, so people who are joining us on YouTube and Zoom, I request you to mute on one particular channel, right? Thank you so much. And the link to the Zoom session is there on the chat. So if you are joining us on YouTube, you can see that on the Zoom chat, you'll be able to see the link to the Zoom session, right? So how many of you are joining us for day 4 who has joined us on day 1, 2, and 3 as well, right? If you've been joining from the day 1, type me in the chat box. Even if you joined last 2 days also, it's fine. Thank you so much, Vijay. Thank you, Vishnu. Thanks, Rajita. Thanks, Prashant. That's great. Okay. So today's session, we are going to cover lists. We are going to cover 3 exercises of lists. You can find the link to the practice notes in the description. So people who are joining us on our social channels, you can even find our link to the WhatsApp group in the description. So what you can do is you can directly join there. We'll be sharing a lot of details, a lot more content on the group. So I request you to go ahead and join us on the group as well. So people who are joining us from our WhatsApp group, you are all good. You are already getting all the details that we are sharing on the group. Okay, great. So as people who have already joined us know, we do a small technique called the Ho'oponopono technique, which helps in clearing out negativity and self-doubt. I'd request people to join us for this exercise. We require you to close your eyes and you can focus and finish this particular exercise. Okay, so we will be doing this exercise for 2 minutes. I request you to cut out your distractions, put your phones away for a while. And this technique is called Ho'oponopono technique, which is a Hawaiian technique, helps in clearing self-doubt and negativity, right? Okay. So this particular technique uses 4 high energy, high vibration statements, which are, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And we would be doing these technique, doing these statements on our own self, be talking to our own self. So I request you to close your eyes and repeat these statements after me. I'll be taking my name and you'll be taking yours, right? Okay, great. Relax your breath. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your shoulders. Relax your back. Relax your feet. Request you to put your hand on your heart. Repeat these statements after. I'm really sorry, dear Sachi. Here you'll be taking your name. I'm really sorry, dear Sachi, for not taking care of you. I'm really sorry, dear Sachi, for disconnecting with you. I'm so sorry for leaving you alone. I am the one who judges you so much. I am the one who criticizes you so much. Please forgive me, dear Sachi, for underestimating you. Please forgive me for not believing in you. Thank you, dear Sachi, for letting me have this beautiful experience called life. From now on, it doesn't matter who doesn't love you. It doesn't matter who doesn't appreciate you, because I promise you, from now on, I love you. I'm here, and I would never let you go again. Rub your hands together and put that energy to your face. Great. So give me one word in the chat box how is the result of doing this technique before and after, right? So how is this 2-minute technique, the whole Ho'oponopono technique, helped you feel different? Give me one word in the chat box. We have Vijay who says relaxing, calm. People on our social channels, you can put it in the comment section. Peaceful, great, nice, refreshing. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. So we are going to get into our exercise now. Now, let me share the link to today's exercise here on the chat. We will be covering lists today. And I'm sharing the link for lists on the chat here. And for people who are watching us on our social channels. Great, amazing. So I'll be sharing my screen. So you can use this link to do the exercise parallelly along with me. Hello, Priya ma'am. Hello, Vijay. Hello, Vishnu. Great. I hope my screen is visible right now. Great. Okay. So now if you look at this particular exercise, today we are going to cover lists. Good evening, ma'am. So now if you see, we are covering every day 30 minutes, one small topic that is taking us closer to learning Python in a better way, right? So in today's session, we learn lists. In our previous session, we have learned about functions. Now, if you see in this particular panel, you will be learning by exercise. We will be using an exercise to learn a bit more about this particular topic. But people who are joining us for the first time and on our social channels, our 7-day program is part of our bigger course, which is AI Bronze. And it would be the more details about it will be shared on our 7th day, which is our master class. And there, Latika ma'am would be clearly explaining how the careers are there in this particular industry and how you can take your Python knowledge or your passion into making this career, right? So how can you, come over roadblocks, no matter which background you are from and which age group you are into. So all of that will be covered on our 7th day as well. Okay, so now if at all we come to the topic, lists is something that is really useful many times when we are trying to work with more than one particular variable, right? So we'll understand that with an example, which has been our theme for learning. Now, if you look at the first exercise, list your family members in a list in this sequence: first mom, dad, and the elder one. Okay, so now if you see, what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to remove everything first, and we are going to have one variable. Normally, how do we give out a string? We say this way, right? So if at all you want to make it a list, what do we do is we give the square brackets, and in that square brackets, we give strings, and then we separate them with a comma. And now if you see, if I'm going to print this list, you'll be able to see that it will print all the members of the list. Okay, so that is what is a list. List is a collection of multiple numbers or strings, right? So now if I can even have in a list 1, 10, 20, any numbers also, and I'm going to print, it is going to print the members of that particular list. So you can perform a lot of operations using lists, right? So we'll see a few of them. Okay, so here we have one particular conditional. So before that, let me just introduce you to this inbuilt function called len, right? So now if you look at len, length it gives us the length of that particular item. So if you give it a string, right, so it is going to give me the length of that particular string. I'm going to run it. You can see that it's given me the length of it. Now, instead of that particular string, if I'm going to give the name of the list, it is going to give me the length of the list, meaning the number of members in that particular list. So if I run it, so it is giving me 3, right? So now if you look at this particular example, what it does here is, so Priyam, you ask in the print function, okay, so basically now when you have double quotes, it makes that a string, because now length and family, now basically length is a function, right? So if I'm going to put double quotes here, it will consider whatever is there inside as a string only, right? So string is nothing but like a fixed thing. Now when you remove that, you can actually able to print whatever is there within that particular variable. So with double quote, it becomes a string. If you directly use the name of the variable, it will print what is there in that particular variable, right? I hope that answers the question. Okay, so now if you look at, so we have a lot of people who join us specifically on our social channels. I request you to summarize your top 3 learnings in the comment section, right? Thank you so much for joining in. Now, what do we do here is, if length of family is greater than 0, meaning if there are members in that particular list, then do these following operations, right? So now what I'm doing here is print, because now the exercise was mom, dad, and elder one. So we are doing, the print statement says sweet mom is, here there is an operator plus and family of 0, right? So let us first try to identify what these members do, like how do we access these members. Now if you see, the name of the list is family, and if you use square brackets and give 0, 1, 2, it will give us that particular member, right? So if I'm going to run it, now you can see that the first member is 1, so it is going to, the 0th member basically is 1. Now if I'm going to do it, put as a 1, so it will go to the family list and say what is the element at index 1, right? So it will go here and check, okay, so in index 1 there is 10, so I'm being asked to print whatever is there at index 1. So I'm going to run it. This is going to give me 10, right? So similarly, you can access any member in that particular list, right? So I'm going to run it. So it has given me 20. So 1, 10, and 20. Similarly, when we have in this particular exercise, what we are doing is we are going to run if length of the family is greater than 0, then print this particular statement first, sweet mom is, then there is a plus operator, then family of 0, meaning the first member, the 0th member of that family will get printed, right? So I am going to give it, first I'll clear this off. Let us try to run this particular program. So now what is going to happen is going to print sweet mom is the first member of the family, right? So this is how you can access any other index item also. So how do you do that is change the index. So when you give 1, so you'll be able to see that the next member gets printed in that particular statement, right? Thank you so much, Priya ma'am. Right. So I hope others are also able to understand this. If you have understood how do we use this particular index to print any specific member of that particular list, if you understood that, type U in the chat box. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you, Prashant. Thank you, Praneeth. Okay, great. So any questions anyone has here, you can let me know if you have any specific queries. Yes, Priyamam, is that clear? Are you able to follow this? Because you had a question in the previous. Okay, great. So that is great. Then let's go back to our screen share. Okay, I hope you're able to see my screen now. Amazing. So similarly, in this particular exercise, we are printing the other two members also, right? So it says sweet mom is, no, I'm going to say change it to 0. Sweet mom is the first item in the list. The second item in the list, caring dad is second item in the list. And elder one is Somu is the third item in the list, right? So now we have understood how to use lists over strings. How can you have a list of strings? So that is what we have understood. Now what do we try to do is, in a list, how do we add a new member, right? So I'm going to use this function called append, right? So I'm going to use this function. So what do we do here is name of the list dot append. So when you use this particular append function or method of lists, what it will do is whatever is there as an input within the brackets is added to the end. Append is in a way means add to the end. So now when you run it, it gets added, and I'm going to print it to see what got added. I just run it. Now you can see that earlier there were 3 members only. Now there's another member that got added, right? So I hope that became clear. So how do we add a new member to a string? You add it by saying dot append and giving it as an input, right? So if you understood this, how to add, type U in the chat box. Thanks, Praneeth. Thanks, Priya. Great. Okay, so now that we have understood this particular portion, we'll go forward and see how to update one particular value, right? So append is easy to understand, right? Okay, thank you so much. So now what we are trying to do here is, next, we are trying to update any specific member, right? So basically now the 0th item is Indira, 1 Madhu, 2 Somu, and 3 is Sachi. And if at all we want to change Sachi from Sachi to Sachi or some other name, right? So how do you do that? You just give an equal to symbol and give the new value with that particular index, and it will get updated, right? So what we are doing here is, right now I'll just print what is there in family of 3. Now in family of 3, we have just Sachi that got printed. Now if at all I want to update Sachi to Sachi or any other name, I'm going to update it and I'm going to run it. Now you can see that the 4th item or the 4th member of that particular list named family is now having a bigger name or a different name, right? So this is how you update any particular list item, right? So I hope that is clear. And now what we do is we'll take a portion of that list and print it, right? So for example, we have parents as Indira and Madhu, parents and the elder one, and basically his sibling, say the other item. So how do we do that? And we do something called slicing. So basically we are creating another list Okay, I hope you have taken the screenshot. So you can take a screenshot of your program run. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this. And I'm going to say parents equal to, give me this. So retain the previous few statements. Created a new list which says is parents. Parents equal to the list family from 0 to 2. So what this does is it takes the first two elements and adds it in the new variable, which is parents, right? So if at all you print parents, you will now find Indra and Madhu in that, right? So let us run it. You can see that in parents, which is like a subset of the family list, has now 2 members. Now, what does this do? From 0 to 2, when we say 0 to 2, it excludes the last index. It will take the 0th index and the first index. It will take both, and then it is going to print that, right? So it's going to print parents. Now, similarly, if at all you want to slice another member of that particular list like this, we have created another list and we said 2, 2, and we have left the last index. So what this does is it starts from 2 and goes till the end, and it adds that slice into the siblings variable, right? So if I'm going to run this, and you can see that from second, which is Somu, and then Sabyasachi, both of these are now printed here, right? So if at all you want to add more members, you can always go ahead and do that. For example, I'm going to say family.append and say Simi. So they've added another member, right? So now if I'm going to print family here, I'm going to run this. So you can see that there are 5 elements in the list, but when you did this slice from 0 to 2 and saved it in parents and printed parents, you had 2 people. And when you did the siblings and printed from 2 and so on, so it printed it took that particular portion of the list, sliced it and saved it in siblings, and we are able to print it, right? So I hope this example is clear. So I hope this is clear. If you are able to understand the topic, how do we use list with strings, type U in the chat box. Thank you, Sujit. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Ajay. 2 to 0 is not understood. Okay. So now let me, come back here. Now, basically 2 to 0, we do not have a 0 here. We said we left it. Here, for example, if you say 2 to 4, is going to take 2 members, the second members 2 and 3, and put it in siblings. But I don't know. I said it's like this. From 5th member, everybody get up from there, right? So how do you say that in programming terms? You say from second number and you leave the last number. Here from 0 to 2, it took from 0 and 1. But in siblings, we said from 2 everyone, right? So that is the reason it took every element after 2 and added in this new particular variable. I hope this is clear now. Is that the question? If I'm able to answer, you can let me know in the chat. Okay, so this is how we have understood lists and how to use them with strings. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use lists with numbers. So how do we do that? It's a very simple example that we are going to take. I'm going to clear whatever we have in here. And then if you see, there's a new list the name of the list is numbers, and it has 4 numbers 5, 6, 7, 8 in that particular list, right? So if at all you want to do any operation, like let's just say I'm going to add 2 indexes, like 2 numbers at different indexes, like numbers of 0 means 5, numbers of 2 means 7, because 0, 1, 2. Now, when we try to do an arithmetic between the list, you'll be still able to do it by using this particular such statements. You can use the operators to do arithmetic with the members of that particular list. So when I'm going to print this, you'll be able to see that the first element 5 and the second element, I mean the number with the index 2, both will get added, and the indexes 1 and 3, the members at indexes 1 and 3, which is 6 and 8, will get multiplied. So 5 plus 7 becomes 12, 6 8 becomes 48. If you run it, you can see that there is 12 and 48 here. So in the same manner, you can use list to do many number of things. Maybe you can use them to multiply with each other, right? So you can even do number 0 into number 0, I mean numbers at 0. So even you can run it, so it will be 5 into 5. So you can even do that, right? So you can do any kind of arithmetic based upon the logic that you are writing. So I hope the concept of lists is clear, right? If you have understood lists, the concepts of it and why do we actually use it, type U in the chat box. Thanks, Sushant. Thanks, Sujit. Thanks, Priyama. So basically, this is about lists. And what do we do here is we use a set of variables and enclose them with the square brackets and use them as one set and use them in various operations as well, right? So this is how we define lists, create lists, and also access each index item by giving the index in the square brackets before we use the name of that particular list. Okay, so I hope this concept was clear. And as you can see in the same exercise, tomorrow we will be covering loops also. Loops is a very useful concepts because we intend to keep our sessions short. We will be joining tomorrow as well and understand a little bit more about loops and how we can use that to achieve repetitive tasks, right? So how you can give better thinking ability to the Python program, right? So I hope this session was valuable for you, and we will be joining people who are joined us on our social channels, who are joining us for the first time. We will be meeting every day until the day 7. Understand Python a little deeper and how you can use it for learning bigger modules like data science and machine learning. So all of that will be covered. And towards our 7th day, we'll be sharing more and more details of how you can transition yourself into this career. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. Okay, Vijay asked the link to the day 7. So we'll be sharing the link to the day 7, during our session. Maybe we'll be able to share it tomorrow as well. I hope you join there and even take more value as well. Thank you so much. If there's any question, you can ask. And if you do not have any questions, you have understood everything, you can type U in the chat box. Thanks, Sujit. Thanks, Praneeth. Thanks, Vijay. Great then. So this concludes our session for today. We'll be learning more. Thank you so much, Priyama. We'll be learning more tomorrow as well. So I'd request you to do a little more practice by your own self, create more number of items. You can even revise our previous sessions. People who are joining us for the first time, you can see that we have a link to our WhatsApp group in the description. You can join the group so that you can get all the updates that we put on the group. right? All the resources that we share on the group. Thank you so much for joining in, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great one. Bye bye.